All right, everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Basscast Radio. I'm your host, Brian Carter, and guys, in the house, we got Bass Geek and our boy Steve. With we've had him on before, but we're gonna talk some more about dual threat tonight. By the way, but we're also gonna highlight a lot of other stuff that's going on in the world of tournament bass fishing. Uh, guys, Thomas is not with us tonight because he's at a Potomac River big meeting going on right there about that sewage dump that went on for days and days. Steve, I heard today that from Thomas that Major League Fishing's actually called to decide whether they want to cancel that event or move it because of what's done happened. So it is a big freaking deal. Oh, excuse me. And tonight, like I said, he was telling us in a group that yeah, a lot of stuff is going on. Yeah, so Major League Fishing's call to can't decide on whether they need to cancel. Tonight is the Maryland DWR meeting regards to the Potomac River sewage spill. So there's a big meeting tonight. Thomas will be back with us next week, and he's going to be going over all of it. You guys all know Thomas, and that's why one of the huge reasons why we love him on the show. You know, he fights so hard to take care of our local bodies of water because it all flows downhill. I mean, it somehow it ends up in many different
Literally
bodies
in
of
this
water that we
case.
all love to fish. So
Well, it's the right thing to do.
it is 100%.
Oh, yeah. I think the MLF guys will be fine. Just sanitize after every fish. It'll kill the E. coli.
That it might be, it might be a catch weight release tournament. You know what I'm saying? Just don't even put it in your boat. Just
you don't want to
no.
rub your nose or
just
eat a
hang it
sandwich.
hang it on the scales. I mean, and throw it back in the water. I mean,
This might not make, you might have to cut this out. If you've ever seen the show Wild Fish, Wild Places, it's a fishing show. My buddy Dennis Isbister, amazing guy. He goes down to Amazon and he's when I did the radio show, he's talking about how they got Montezuma's revenge because a fish splashed and shot water in their mouth.
Oh.
And then as soon as it like touched his taste buds, it was instant out the behind.
Release.
It was instant.
Instant release.
Yeah, release. Thank you. It was catch and release instantly.
Oh my gosh.
If you ever want Dennis on the show, tell me. I'll get Dennis to call in.
That would be awesome. That would be so awesome. So, guys, tonight, Thomas is getting us the scoop on what is going on. Guys, this whole thing's made it like to the White House. I mean, this has like been a really big thing, really, really big thing. So, hopefully, you guys are keeping up with fishing the DMB and all the podcasts he's been dropping. But before I get started tonight's show, Geek, what is happening in your world, brother?
Well, before I get started talking about it, I've released some sewage into a few lakes in my lifetime. I don't understand the big.
Were you being filmed for a national television show, though?
Holy crap.
Sorry, I had to.
This is
awesome. Hey, just want to put this out there. Shameless plug. We finally got the Bass Geek shop back up and running. BassGeekFishing.com. We got some great deals on some t-shirts. And just like, I couldn't do it without making sure, because I did put a video out kind of scolding all of our fishing cold weather gear, makers about how they don't take care of us fat boys. I'll leave it right there. And they don't do it very well. So every single thing out there is at least up to 5XL. So I take care of it.
Gracious.
So I think there might be one shirt, and it's like a short sleeve. I think it's only 3 or 4, but that's it. But everything else is up to 5 or 6XL. So other than that, we're just throwing out the content, man. We did Really interesting video the other day on a really affordable crankbait system for cold weather. We did, we're, well, I mean, that's just what we do. So you need to go check that out.
All right, there you guys go. Head on over to the Bass Geek channel. 3 videos, 2 shorts still, right, Bass Geek?
3 videos, 3 shorts a week, 3 and 3.
3 and 3. So 3 videos, 3 shorts a week. You guys all know Thomas records every night before he goes to sleep. It don't matter what it is. So Thomas,
2,000 shows a week by Thomas.
Thomas,
He's on every 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And they're all 4 hours long. Thomas, I'm sorry.
Job.
We got to give you some.
Yeah.
Thomas, we love you, by the way. We're just messing with you. So if you probably won't listen, but if you did listen, here we go. But yeah, I did wish Thomas was on because I know he had his open house this past weekend. They had that kayak tournament event at Jake's Bait and Tackle, and I did see a lot of people there. So I know Thomas has a big to do with that. So that's going to be really cool to talk to him about next week. But I think they gave away a really nice kayak. I can't remember. I watched like rewind of something. They gave away a really nice like $2,000 kayak to someone. So I mean, it's really cool. And we can get Thomas to talk to us more about that. But guys, I want to say thank you to everyone. The last couple of weeks have been crazy at the basscast.com. I don't know where all the likes, the shares, the comments have been coming from, but you guys have been great hitting the like and share button tremendously because we do have a lot of trips coming up. After this weekend, I don't know if I went to Lake Wiley or not. We're still up in the air about that, but we got the Bassmaster Classic coming up. We have an Angler's Choice on Smith Mountain Lake. Cat Championship right around the corner. So, I mean, we're pretty much going to be, to be honest, after this weekend on, we're gone. I mean, there might be a couple, days where we're close to the house, but for the most part, the basscast.com is going to be on the road. Fuel, gas, and the rooftop tent will keep us dry as we travel through the land, covering bass fishing tournaments for the basscast.com. But thank you guys for being a part of that. Also, I sent it to the guys. We had our highest watched show, downloaded show in one day. I can't remember what was it. It was over 100 if I remember correctly. But I sent out the link to everyone. 171 plays on one day. For us, that's really freaking good. So thank you. If we could average 171 a day, that'd be amazing. So that would pay for all of it plus some. So thank you guys for listening. Send us to a friend. Tell a friend about the basscast.com and Basscast Radio. They can watch us. Our watch numbers are up. And they can listen just going down the road. We have 3 shows. We have Basscast Radio, the main show, before the first cast with Trevor. You guys seen him on the show if you've watched. And then we have one. It's an AI show. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's our content from our writers. Some of you guys don't like to read. It is what it is. I'm not a huge fan myself. I just read
I can't read.
Yeah. I read the newspaper. That's about it. But it's just a 5 to 15 minute little show, reproducing the content that's been done on the website. So 3 great shows, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 a.m. in the morning. They go up. By the way, Wednesday is not a video, but the rest of the shows are a video. So thank you guys for being a part of that. Also, April the 25th, it's going to be here before we know it, is our first Bass Cast tournament event on Smith Mountain Lake going out of the state park. It is $250 entry fee. It's a $50 side pot, $300 total. You guys have asked for a big payout. I'm sorry, we don't have big sponsors anymore. Just the way it is. I can't help that. I know back in the day you could go down the road and get a gas station to sponsor you $500 or something, and they love to do it. These days, it's like, can I give you a gift card? No, I'm good. No, I know. So it's $250 entry. Get signed up today. Head on over to the basscast.com now and get signed up, and be ready for April the 25th for the first event. So we'd love to have you and love to see you and be a part of that. Steve, get your fish on. you guys have seen the YouTube channel. I, you know, it's pretty cool how all this works out. I know what's going on right now is pretty fucked up, but it's really cool that it's had the opportunity for us to reach out to Steve, to meet Steve and learn more about Steve. And, I didn't meet Bass Geek the same way in a crazy episode, but like we were talking about earlier, networking. That's what it's all about in this whole Bass. I've preached it, I've preached it, I've preached it to you so much here. If you really want to do this thing, you better have some friends. Because if you don't have any friends, you ain't gonna last long. And we've been around this thing for a very long time, and I know. But dual threat, guys. It's starting to wind down a little bit. The noise and the chatter has started to wind down. I know someone that bought the dual threat URL, by the way. Um, yes, I do. Yes, a personal friend. Yes, the dual threat, guys, has already been purchased. We don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but we've purchased the URL. Not me, but he has. So, but what's been going on, Steve? Welcome back to the show. The last time we had you on, nobody knew the angler's name. Nobody knew where he was. We were still looking through photos and combing through photos to help identify this gentleman. Um, if you haven't heard, there's a song out there now on YouTube for the
Yeah,
that
thank you
this
for sharing it.
yeah, I shared it with Steve that there's a song out there. It's pretty crazy about the whole thing. And this guy writes up, he makes parody songs and just crazy shit. So, but Steve, walk us up to this point of what's been going on and the things that you know. We had Martin Vila on last week. I know Vila had talked about it. They're looking at revitalizing it. They're looking at trying to finish the season. But that was as much as he could speak about it at that current time. I know Scott brought that up as well on his YouTube channel because I watched that video. But walk us up to this point of what has been going on and what's been going on with you. So
So for dual threat is just, it's an absolute mess. To be honest, it's an embarrassment to me that I promoted it, that I helped share it. I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I've taken a little bit of criticism. Some people have said I'm a co-conspirator and that I was paid to do it. I never was paid. I did the same thing that I did for dual threat that I did for MPFL and Major League Fishing. And I think every day when you talk to somebody else, there's something else that you learn. Now, I'll get to what you said because that's more important. There is an opportunity for this to continue, but they need to have the right backing to make it continue. So I think that's what they're trying to do right now. I wish I could share everything I know. I
okay.
don't know that much about it, to be honest. I've been told bits and pieces from people, but if they were to do it, it definitely wouldn't be called dual threat. I can tell you
Oh
that.
no.
Yeah, and they would probably have to miss at least one tournament. They would probably have to miss Eufaula because it would be too early to do it. So maybe they can continue it and do one or two or three tournaments if possible. They would have to probably change some of the payouts. They would probably have to do that. The crazy thing about redoing it is one of the days when we still weren't sure who Ethan was. I had a company call me and say, "Hey, I think we'd like to keep this going if possible."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, what can I do to help you do that?" Because really, my involvement with Dual Threat was to try to promote it. But I really thought, because I was getting scammed and duped too, that it was a great opportunity for anglers. And I thought it was a great opportunity to grow the sport because the team fishing trail is really highly successful. And at that level, at that amount of money to win,
Yeah.
anglers weren't just, there were a few anglers that said, "I'm not interested," and blah, blah, blah. But there were more than 90% of the people who heard it, if they didn't have scheduling conflicts or whatever, they wanted in. And they were sharing it with their friends too. Like, "Hey, look, I'm getting into this. You should get in too because it's free money." Because that's what we thought it was. Um, so you know, if they want to continue it, they just have to get it. But getting back to that, so I had a company call me and say, "Do you think this can happen? And if it can happen, do you happen to know this person's phone number?" And I said, "You want to know it? I do know this person's phone number." They called that person and they got a good chunk of money, and I mean good chunk of money, to hopefully keep this thing going. And it was the first person they called, and that person came from me, which makes me feel a little bit better, but not really that much better. Because this whole thing has weighed on me more than anything. I hate this thing. I hate what it's done to my reputation. I hate the criticism and the bullshit that people have said about me that isn't remotely true. But it's a lot of people. That's the way they get ahead. I've always thought that for me to get ahead is to do what's right, give back to people, trust people, and hopefully it'll work out. Now, in this case, it bit me in the ass. It bit me in the ass. And like I
Well,
said, I'm ashamed and embarrassed.
yeah, I don't think you need to be ashamed or embarrassed. You were just talking about, and that's what we do. We talk about leagues and that sort of stuff. And team, I've pressed for years that the dying BFLs would be much
Mhm.
better off if they would kind of do it the same way they do college tournaments. That it's a team tournament. Now we don't have the complaining from the co-angler and we don't have the complaining from the anglers. It's a team tournament. And then once you get to the All American, it's one for all, or,
Yeah.
all for yourself then.
And
I think it
that's
would
how
be
they
a
do in the
much
Bass
more,
Nation.
yeah, I think it would be a
Mhm.
much more successful trail right now if they would do that. So, of course, a high level team tournament, I think there's more than a lot of people that got scammed because they want to see that. I mean,
Mhm.
so it definitely wasn't just you. I mean, you're scamming the likes of Scott Martin and, a lot
Mhm.
of the other pros. Uh, I don't anybody that would criticize you is the same people that gives me shit over loving forward facing sonar, and I do.
I think
But but
I
we've seen the success of the team tournament series in the Major League Fishing world,
oh
and
yeah,
that is so freaking big. So many people,
Yeah.
after the regular season's over, and what gosh, what is it called now? Their team series when it
it's the team
it's not
challenge.
the team challenge, yeah,
Mm.
and that is so successful for them. And like Geek's talking about right there, the BFLs would be really awesome if they would do the team series like they do the Bass Nation of Virginia. It's a team series till you get to the championship, and then those who qualify, you know, 10 co-anglers and 10 boaters go for the go to the championship, and then it kind of works our way up to the classic. So I mean, it would be a really good idea for that to happen because it really is huge.
Well, if you of all things, if you look at the list of anglers that were on that dual threat fishing team series,
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, it put to shame some of these other leagues. No offense to
Mhm.
them. There were 62 teams. 40 of those teams, 45, 50 of those teams signed up on their own. And when you have like the Fisher Anayas and the Tucker Smiths and the Scott
Yeah.
Martins and the Keith Bouchers, and you have Matt Robertson, and
Mhm.
that's just the who's who. Chad Mrazek, some of the youngest anglers. Oopsie, sorry about that. Some of the youngest anglers that wanted to participate with their friends or other people. It made it a lot of fun. And when you talk to the anglers, they'll tell you, most of the guys aren't unhappy. They're not super pissed off, which is the surprising thing. I'm probably more mad than they are. But they had an unbelievable amount of fun
Yeah.
going out there and fishing with their friend for a few days in that hopes that they were going to make some extra money. And a lot of them were like once Scott Martin signed up, the amount of people that came after Scott Martin to sign up was ridiculous because then
Oh yeah.
anglers were going, are we missing out on something here?
Mhm.
And that changed the whole trajectory of how things gone. When the no entry things came up, then that's when things. I mean, I started questioning things, but I say in a video that isn't live that Tim was probably the best liar I've ever dealt with in my life because he always had the answer to what you were
Wow.
asking.
That's really a big token of a real liar right there. And you are right. I mean, Gray Buck fished it. Martin Vila from Central Virginia fished it. And a lot of the guys still have hopes to this day that they still get paid somehow. I mean, I don't know why, or to be honest, how they think that's going to happen. But a lot of the anglers are hoping that they still will get paid. So I mean, do
I
you
hope
know the?
that sorry, I hope that if it does continue, and I have no say in this, but I hope that if it does continue, the first thing to do is to make those anglers whole. Those people who sent in, so there were 2 or 3 or 4 people that sent in their deposits that were 30 grand. And then there
Mm.
were deposits also. They sent in their entry fees, excuse me, and then deposits. So I hope those people get paid first. And then the anglers who made money get second. And then whatever's left in the pot, hopefully can make those 2 or 3 last tournaments and make it whole. And then in 2027, they can start over fresh and continue down the line because it is a good idea. It just was run by the wrong person.
Now, not to be Mr. Bleak,
Mhm.
what do you guys, what do you, especially Steve, put really the likelihood, the percentage of any monies being recovered?
0.
From Ethan
Uh, Just, yeah.
or from, I don't think there's any way of it.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, there was some, I'm not really big on talking about rumors, but there
Yeah.
was some rumors that what day is today? So last Monday, not this Monday, 2 days ago, but the last Monday, there were supposedly some FBI agents or Tennessee law enforcement or whoever it was that were at the bank that he opened to see if they could find out more information or when the money
Mm.
was taken out and that kind of stuff. So you don't really know if that's true because I'm not there. I'm only hearing what anglers tell me. And but I don't think they'll ever recover it. I think the worst part about it is that his son, who was 21 or 22, his real name is Ethan Phillips, and his son was the one
Mm.
that signed all the checks. So now
Wow.
his son
Wow.
is really probably in as much trouble as Tim is in. His son is in because he signed at least 25 checks for the anglers. And then if they deposited, if anyone sent in their money and deposited, they were supposed to get their money back right then for
Mhm.
the deposits or entry fees or whatever. And so he signed checks for them too. So you might have 25, 35, 45 checks that was signed were, there was no non-sufficient funds or blocked or whatever you want to call it. And now his son, who's 21 or 22, is really more involved or just as big of an issue as Tim is in.
What
But
do they
I'm not
call it when you
not
bounce a
a
check? I'm
law
trying when you write bad checks, what do they call that?
check fraud.
Mm-hmm.
It's check fraud, but yeah, but you can get like 30 years in prison for that or
Yeah,
more.
yeah. I mean, I think there was like 6 or 7 ish issues. There was like wire fraud because they had to transfer
Yeah.
money. There's check fraud. There was state to state stuff. There was
Mm.
Florida, Tennessee, and then Wyoming issues because he did the LLC through Wyoming. And Wyoming has like Wyoming and Montana have like some of the worst. No offense, I love that area, especially to go fishing, but like you're allowed to use your name, image, and likeness in an LLC to hide you. And I
Oh,
think
wow.
there's um, so many things. And like I said, I mean, to this day, it still makes zero sense what the end game was going to be. Because, I mean, I've heard people say, I think he was going to do it. Why would he? I mean, if you're going to scam people of all that money, why would you drive down to Florida and do 2 tournaments? Why
Yeah.
would you just
Why
not
would
Yeah.
show up?
you? Why would you get the permits for the entire year
Yeah.
other than you? It's I mean, the only thing I can see that he was going to scam people over would have to be like if there was just a big lump sum sponsor and he was really going to, take that money and run. I I think it just sounds like a case to where he got in over his head, talked a big
Mhm.
game, and was really just too, for him to be such an intelligent, to be a good liar, you can still be an idiot. And
Mhm.
he may have been both.
Yeah, he fit that perfectly. He really fit that perfectly.
Yeah, because
Uh,
it's alleged $200,000 roughly or
yeah,
more is what he took.
yeah. I mean, it goes up and down every day, to be honest. I think the weird thing about it is when the no entry fees happened, he and I had one or two arguments in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. When the no entry fee happened, we argued every day because I started like he fed me this line of crap that he was gonna have this app made for to do the whole weigh-in. And then as it got closer, he kept thinking that Fishing Chaos, and thank God for Fishing Chaos for doing what they did, or else the first tournament wouldn't even have went on. But he kept saying, "Well, I got it. Fishing Chaos is trying to charge me $5,000 per tournament," and I went, "You told me you have $3.5 million from your investor. What is $5,000?"
Yeah, no joke.
To make sure things are run smoothly because you don't have this app that you said you could get done in 5 days. And and then as it got closer and closer, it was like $1,000 that Fishing Cast was charging him. And he was worried about now, and don't get me wrong, $1,000 is a lot of money. I want to make that very
Yeah,
clear.
of course.
But if you have $3.5 million, $1,000 to make sure things are running right and that the anglers know what their boat order is and all the other things that Fishing Cast was going to do, $1,000 is nothing
No.
because
Mhm.
you can't take 62 ping pongs and decide who's going to be who. And you're so unorganized. You're showing up an hour or 20 minutes before the first angler meeting, and the first angler meeting goes on for like 10 or 12 minutes, I was told. And some of the other things that happened after the angler meeting just made no sense. But like I said, once that no entry fee was canceled, and he said to me, it was on a Monday, on a Tuesday, he said, "I got the money in the bank." From then on, I questioned, you know, how are you going to run 5 camera boats in 9 days? How are you going to get that done? Uh, you're complaining about the Scott Martin Marina wanted to put on like a little feast for the anglers, and it's going to cost you $1,500 for them to give all the guys waters and sodas and a catfish dinner and all that stuff. And you're not going to do that on your first tournament just to say thank you to all these guys because the anglers are what make the tournament run.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Without and with the anglers' names that he had, I mean, really, it was a who's who of the best anglers in the world right now.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, if he would have had 2 months before that to say there were no entry fees, it would have been the top 30 anglers in Major League Fishing and bass fishing it. No, I'm not joking. All the top anglers wanted to be in it. Some of them just couldn't because scheduling conflicts or whatever it
Yeah.
was. And they were calling him because I would call somebody and say, "Hey, if you're interested in joining Dual Threat, there's going to be possibly no entry fees, but you have to get a hold of Ethan and you got to talk to him." And I would say to every person I talk to, don't listen to what I say because I have no skin in the game. You need to make the decision if it's good for you on what you want to do, or what's good for you and your
Right.
family. And there were some anglers that were like, "Steve, I want in." And then when I talked to them about what the schedule was, they were like, "Oh, no, no, I can't get in. I can't get in. I have scheduling conflicts, and it's more important for me to stick with sponsors than something that really I'm not sure is going to work." Because there were a couple anglers that said that. So, and like I said,
That
the whole thing gets more and more confusing every day.
that's one of the things that really does drive me crazy is a lot of anglers, you know, especially Vila. I know Vila wasn't gonna be fishing Major League Pro Series, Bass Pro Series this year, but, they give up their schedule, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
they put these events on their calendar to fish and compete in that. And there's only, like I tell people, there's more tournaments than boat ramps. There's more tournaments than weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and so you dedicate this time to fish, was 4 or 5, whatever it was, the dual thread tournaments, and then now you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can jump in some other stuff if you want. You can fish a open or something like that, or a little BFL, which you're going to take home maybe $1,000 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So I mean, the big money shit you'd have missed.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah, that's
that's what I mean.
that
Even
that.
if you finish last in the first 2 tournaments, you still don't have a chance in the next 3 to get a damn check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was the. I think that's the one thing that really well. There were a few. There's a lot of things that hit home to me. I mean, I think it's funny people saying I'm trying to hide from this. I've been very open and telling everybody exactly what happened with my side, and that there were a lot of anglers that had daily conversations with Ethan to help make it the best that they could. And that's where we realized, like, the crazy thing is like he and I had this, I mean, unbelievable fight because he said, well, I'm going to have 5 cameramen on the boats. And I said, well, if you're going to broadcast that on YouTube, you have to have someone be a commentator. Now, I want to mention, I did not want that job. I got offered a tournament director job, I got offered an MC job, and I got offered that job. I declined the tournament director because I didn't think I was qualified. He told me he had an MC and that somebody already had the job, but he would get rid of him. And I said, no, no, don't do that. I don't want to hurt someone's livelihood because that's just me. And then the commentator, I said, I'm not sure I can do that or that I have time to do that because I have a daily job of doing graphics. So so he had said, well, I don't need you to do it. I'm going to have the cameramen do this. And I went, what? So you think there's going to be 2 people on the boat flinging lures, and you got to worry about getting hit in the head, and that the cameraman, who's got a 40 or 50-pound camera on his shoulder, is not only going to be able to focus on who to catch, make sure he doesn't get hit by a lure, but then he's also going to have time to commentate what he's seeing. Now,
What the heck?
no offense to any videographer. Maybe some of them can do it that are with MLF and BPT and NPFL and Bass now, but it takes time. But you're not going to find 5 guys off the street that are videographers that know shit about fishing. They're not going to know the difference between a swim bait and a crankbait, or
Mhm.
a stick bait and whatever it is. And so I said that to him, and he went off on me. He went off, and then he said,
Wow.
"Oh, I got an angler calling in." And I'm like, okay, good luck. Now, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 hours later, he would call me back and say, I know what? I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. And because he was attentive to my question and got the answer, and then it would pacify me at first, but then he would get the answer. And what he was doing, he was hanging up the phone with me and calling an angler and saying, how should I do this with 5 things? And get their
Mm.
opinion and call someone else. So he would get the right answer and then call everybody back. Like he would ask me, Steve, what should I do here? Blah, 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 blah. And I would say, oh, this is probably what would happen. I'm not sure. And then he'd call the angler and go, this is what we're going to do.
Wow.
And it would pacify them too. But he constantly, hey, I got to get a phone. My investor's calling. Oh, I got to get off the phone. An angler's calling.
Mm.
And then he would call you back. I mean, he lied perfectly. And then when he did call you back, he generally had the right answer. And that would not make you question what was going on. And that's really where it was confusing. And there were some people that caught on. Like I heard that Hillary Martin on the first tournament, I guess after day 1, she's like, this guy's a fraud. Why is nobody catching on to this? This guy knows nothing about fishing. He knows nothing about tournaments. What he's doing, something's wrong. And anglers were like hopefully she's not right, but now they're starting to smell the shit. So Ethan had us fooled. He really did have us fooled.
We brought up in the last show, and we talked about there about, that money is a hook, you know what I'm saying?
It is.
And it really is, and we're in a different time now where, everybody, we had this tried out before in another series about, free entry, and it went away, and, little entry, and now we're, it's changed many times since then.
Mhm.
But, this nobody rides for free. I'm sorry.
Well, well, I think because anglers are so used to paying so much, and they're paying to be in this league or this league or this league, and then there's a league where they don't have to pay and still have the same payouts, and there's a possibility it's going to work, and you're being fed these lies about this investor,
Yeah.
and like really, I have so many texts from Ethan, it's not even funny.
They
So when he first started, he was telling me, because he was in construction, that Black and Decker was one of the sponsors. I got Black and Decker online, and I remember him talking to me about, he was just finishing doing, and I'm going to show my age. Who he was finishing something for Aiden Ross, and that's how he got the Bitcoin. And I'm like, and the truth be told, I didn't know who Aiden Ross was. And Thomas, my little boy, heard my conversation, and he ran in and he goes, "Dad, did you know who Aiden Ross is?" And then I'm like, holy cow, this guy does all this Bitcoin stuff. And then it kind of all lined up somewhat. And truthfully, in all honesty, we've known each other for a couple months now. We've talked a lot, and you're very attentive and very nice, and I think the world of you. But I would never go back and look you up, because we have a friendship. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that.
Yeah.
What's your private life is your private life. And I think that's where I wish I would have looked it up, because when I did start looking up and there was zero footprint, and like the people who contacted me from the get-go, I can't find them anymore. So I think it was he had somebody else write me an email and stuff about that to start off with. That
Oh,
those things.
wow.
His Facebook page was taken down, because I remember at one point in time we were Facebook friends, Ethan and I. And so all that stuff was taken down once that first tournament happened. And so there was something out there, and then
Man,
out of nowhere, everything vanished. I mean, everything vanished.
this is no life. This is crazy, guys. If you know anything about bass fishing, you know anything about marketing, and I'll tell you this right now: if I had even a small entry fee tournament, and I got these anglers together of this caliber, I would be interviewing like a mofo. My Instagram be blowing up. I would be posting content 24/7. I'd be talking to everybody on that daggone thing. Facebook would be writing me checks. Instagram be writing me checks. I mean, you got the who's who of who's who in your backyard, and you suckered, I hate to say it, all these people in with the aspirations of free and clear $100,000 money, and you did nothing, no extra work, period, to even try to recoup anything whatsoever.
I think the one thing that was said to me that resonated the most is that as anglers, we are eternal optimists. We go fishing. We don't know if we're going to catch shit. We could get skunked
True.
Yeah.
every time we go out there.
Yep.
But we, as fishermen, even myself, I went this afternoon.
Yep.
I'm hopeful. I went over to my local pond knowing that I know that they're spawning. I know that they're spawning. I saw them on the beds a week ago, and I thought, okay, this is my time to get it, because how things were working out. But did I catch something? I caught shit. I got nothing but a bunch of weeds, and lost a couple lures, and made myself look stupid, which is okay. But because we're anglers, we have this eternal optimist all the
Yeah.
time. We always think that it's going to be the next time we go fishing, the next time we're going to catch our personal best. We're gonna. It's what drives us to keep going and get better and learn new ways of fishing, and use different lures and do all that stuff. We spend way too much damn money on tackle, hoping
Yeah.
that that money will come back into that biggest fish. And in this case, everybody that was a pro angler, I'm not a pro angler at all, but myself, even I was hoping this was going to be a good thing for the anglers. I never once thought this is going to be a good thing for me. I was looking out for friends, and I was looking out for people that I respect, and thought, this is what, when you start hearing all the bullshit he was telling us, you start to go, this is going to be a good thing for these anglers. It's for, no offense, it's free money. Who doesn't take free money? I remember him saying to me, Steve, I have a spot for you as a team. And I said, oh, no, you don't want that. I mean, nobody wants to see me at a tournament. And I was busting anglers' chops. I'm like, if I join, I'm whooping your ass. Let's be brutally honest. I'm getting my face kicked in every tournament. I'm dead last.
Dang.
But, you got to chirp a little bit. But we all thought for the anglers, it was free money. And that's, again, eternal optimists.
Oh, yeah. So has he been arrested or been anything of charges pressed or anything of that nature yet?
I still think the charges are coming soon.
Okay.
There are authorities doing their work, and doing their work in Tennessee, and doing their work down here in Florida, and not just like local authorities. There's serious authorities, and I am not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he went back to Tennessee, dropped off the kids that he conned into letting them go down there with him, because he had a couple other people that came down with him to Palatka and Okeechobee. And I don't think he stayed very long. And I believe, and I could be wrong, I believe he's still here in Florida. That's just me speculating, because I think he has some family down here that he probably could go to and hide. There was actually a news article that someone found, that Cerebral Tackle found, that said that his mom put in the paper that she was looking for Timothy Ray Lynn, and she thought he died, and she hadn't seen him for a year.
Oh my
and
gosh.
and that she was asking, has anybody seen it? Now, this was like in COVID time.
Yeah.
But there is a news article or a clipping of it, and I think Cerebral Tackle put that on his Instagram page, and it talks about how his mom hadn't seen him in a year and she thinks he's dead.
Wow. I was a part. I wasn't really. I wasn't really a part. I was
so
friends
many different levels.
I was friends with a gentleman here, and he wasn't originally from here, and he put together a website, and it was one of those blog websites of movies and TV and all that crap. And I don't watch any TV, to be honest, but he was big into that, and he put on an event. First event went really, really well. Everybody got paid. Everything went great. Second event didn't go really well at all. Nobody got paid. People were looking for him. I don't know if they ever found him, but he left Virginia. No, this has been a decade ago. But he
So
left
I hope.
Virginia and was, and like I said, he could have been in a body bag 6 months later. But I don't know. When you owe people money, bad things happen. I hate to say it. And I don't think nothing's gonna happen fishing wise. I think I think what's gonna happen is the right thing, and it's gonna be like the walleye thing, where charges get pressed, and you can never fish a tournament or host a tournament again, and you might get. I don't know. I think they couldn't fish a tournament. I think they had to give back the boats, and I don't know if they got any of the money. I don't think they got any of the money from the walleye guys, if I remember correctly.
No, they didn't. So I pulled up the article, if you don't mind me reading it. So
No,
it
go
has a
for it.
picture. It has a picture of him holding a little bass, slipping a little bass. It's identical to him, and it says, "The mother of Timothy Ray Lynn is pleading for the public to find information on the whereabouts of the condition of her son. Lynn was described as 38 years old with green to hazel eyes, about 6'2" in height, and last seen in the Tellico Plains area. He has been missing for over a year." Well, we found him. He started dual threat fishing, so we can tell his mom he is alive. He scammed us. He duped me. He took me for a ride, I can tell you that. He took me for a ride.
This is some of the craziest crap I've ever heard in my whole entire life. There will be, Danielle likes watching those like unsolved mysteries and those, those crazy things, Netflix stuff. I know she was watching one the other day. It's Bad Neighbors. A guy next door.
Oh, I love that. on HBO Max. Neighbors, it's hilarious.
Yes. She watches that. So I watched one episode with her yesterday. So yes, guys started a farm right next door to these people's house. So I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
what in the everlasting?
you know
There will be a show. He will be on Netflix, guys. He wanted this thing to be on Netflix, and he will be on Netflix or one of these shows. He will be on one of them. Not the way he
Slicks.
wanted, but he will be on one. He'll have a show. He'll get out there
That's his
and tell
ultimate
the
goal.
story. Hey, Steve, you need to
He'll
just go ahead and
sell
go to
his
Netflix
story.
right now and just tell the story and get paid. That's what you need to do. Go to
I,
Netflix and get paid.
I have to be honest. So I don't know what day it was. Slick, Alan Johnson calls me and he's like, Steve, I want you to know it's official. Ethan is on Netflix. I'm like, what? What do you mean? He goes, well, after all this stuff that's going on, I laughed so hard it wasn't even funny. If there's two guys, there's two anglers. I don't know if you know them, Keith Pouchet and Skeeter Crosby.
Oh yeah.
Those two boys are, and I say boys nicely, those two men, gentlemen, are the CSI of bass fishing. The amount of work those two guys did to figure out, that there was a P.O. box that was forwarded to another P.O. box, which makes no sense, or where he lived, or all this stuff. Because Keith went to me when everything was breaking loose. Keith was like, Steve, have you ever seen this guy? And I'm like, I've never seen him. And then so I went and scrubbed all the YouTube channels or videos to find out where the bump board guy was. And then I made screenshots. I sent it to Keith, who put it in the anglers group me, and then that helped find, because Skeeter took that and went to Facebook and started putting in all these Facebook group pages. Do you know who this guy is? Do you know who this guy is? And he got all the information because of this from this guy, Ethan's ex-wife.
Oh
Reached out
wow.
and was like, oh, I know who this is. He's been doing these scams for years.
Wow.
And it was like, whoa, what's going on? And that's when, so to be honest, Skeeter and Keith really broke all this. And it was, there were a lot of people helping. Don't get me wrong. There were all of us trying to help at that point in time. I think the funniest thing about everything that's gone on, since this thing happened, everybody is telling you, I told you so, but nobody ever said stop. Nobody ever said stop. Everyone thought it was sketchy. You were hoping for the best. And when it was time to figure out who he was, those so-called I told you soers kept running. Nobody went into the fire to figure it out. They started doing their own thing to try to make videos or do whatever it was. Never interviewed him, didn't know anything about him, just regurgitated the information that they heard from us. And
Wow.
and then at the same time decided, well, might as well shit on all these people too and not help at all. And like I said, when this whole thing was going on, I'd spent, no joke, 4 or 5 days of no sleeping, doing everything I could to try to figure out who he was, what was going on. And quite honestly, he would have been near me, I would have went and bitch slapped him myself. I really would have.
Guys, this sounds like, this kind of sounds like what Steve's saying right here. I was told a story today of a lady who was drowning in a river down the road that I fished many times. And 4 people were holding the cameras and recording as this poor lady's drowning. And I would like to run down past and just shoved every one of them into the water and then went and rescued her. This is how, we feel about people who do shit like this. I hate to say it. And I hate it it pisses me off all, that Good Samaritan days are gone. I mean, those days are.
I try to be one of those people that I try to do what's right. Doesn't mean I always do what's right by any means. But like I was telling someone today, I drove by a guy, Thomas wasn't feeling good last week. So I drove up to go get him something that he wanted to eat. Now this wasn't a little drive. I drove like an hour and a half to go get his favorite meal. And then as I was at this place, I hate to say this, but there was a homeless man on the side, and the God's honest truth, he looked like this was his last breath. And I passed him, and I was like, the truth be told, I remember thinking that guy is scary. I'm 6'4", 242 pounds. I look like Shrek. So, but I went in, I ordered Thomas's food, and then I walked back quite a distance to go see this guy, and I'm like, "Can I help you with anything?" I normally don't do this because I feel like sometimes it's a scam too. But at the same time, the look of this guy it was horrible, man. And he was like, "Do you have $20?" And I'm like, "I don't really keep cash on me anymore. You know, your phone does everything." And I said, can I go back to, if I'm going to be honest, Thomas wanted Jollibee's chicken. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Nope.
It's phenomenal. It's the best fried chicken in the whole world. I'm not joking. It's ridiculous. So I said, well, I don't mind going back to Jollibee and getting you something to eat. And he goes, well, can't you get me $20? I have a problem. I'm like, well, what's the problem? He goes, you know what my problem is? I'd rather get the $20 so I can go do what I need to do than get food. And I said, well, I'm not offering you that. I'm offering you, I don't mind going back and getting you a $15 meal or something and bringing it back here and giving it to you. And he was like, no, I just rather have the $15. I'm like, I don't have $15. I have my phone to pay for something. That's what I have. I have Apple Pay. And then I kind of was like, you know, how much help can I give this man if he doesn't want my help for food? But I did go back, bought him a bucket of chicken and a drink and fries and a gravy and stuff. I brought it back and gave it to him. And I said, I really wish you the best of luck. I wish I had cash to give to you, but I don't. But that's the kind of person I am. I get extra lures. I send them to kids for kids fishing
Yeah.
events. I'm more worried about everybody else than myself. And a lot of times it hurts me. I'm one of those people that if I think something's going on in your life, I try to make a mental note of it and go, oh, you want to, congratulations on your new baby. Even though you hate my guts, I send you a text. I hope your baby's healthy. I hope your baby's happy.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Well, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm nowhere near that nice.
Well, I shouldn't be that nice. I'll tell you that, dude. I should not be that nice after the stuff that's gone on this last 2-3 weeks.
All right, guys. Gonna wrap up here. Steve, like I said, always thank you for coming on the show. You're almost
Anytime.
a regular now. Trevor, Steve, all of us. I really do. We are gonna have a guest on next week, by the way. But I really do like just these conversations we've been having. We wrapped them up last year at the end of last year. And we had a lot. I mean, guys, you guys keep creating the content. We just keep talking about it. I mean, with everything that happened at the end of 2025, it's like every other week was like DQ, lie detector, something was crazy was happening in the world of tournament bass fishing. And then, thank God we've only had one DQ? No, two DQ so far. We had one pro in the open, wasn't it? Last week, I want to say. I think I heard rumors. Please don't take this for good, but I think I did hear something of
Was
an
it
issue.
because of his 3 hours on scope?
I'm not sure exactly.
I think that whole 3 hours. I mean, I could do a whole show on that 3 hours. That was the most confusing. That's confusing to me.
There was a BFL angler that got DQ'd.
Okay.
Oh, there was somebody who called his brother too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In one of them.
Yes.
Yes.
So you guys have, started the year off great for us. You know what I'm saying? Feeding us content. Thank you, everybody.
And what about the classic at Hartwell too in 2027?
Yes, that's some great news. I love Lake Hartwell and I love South Carolina, and it's a really cool freaking place. We have a great time when we're down there, so we're excited about that. And it's a little closer for Steve than having to meet me in Tennessee.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the classic. I'm looking forward to the Red Crest even more. Surprisingly.
Where is the Red Crest this year? I don't know.
Table Rock.
That's right.
I will be skipping because it would be a flight, and it would be more than a flight for me. So we're going to be skipping the Red Crest this year, and hopefully getting back on it in 2027. But as Danielle says, I don't think it'd be a good use of donor dollars, and donor dollars from me too here, and we can stay closer. I'll be honest, guys, I try to keep within a little 5 hour window for the
Mhm.
Basscast right now until I go full time, and then we really, really travel. So right now, 5 hour window. If it's more than five, sorry, I'm at the house. I did tell Charity, and it kind of sucks, and I love hanging out with Charity and them, but yeah, we will be skipping the 2026 Red Crest, but we will be at the Classic. And like I was telling you guys earlier, we got 2 cat championships this year. We got a Angler's Choice Championship coming back this year. Bass Nation went to all Saturday events here in Central Virginia, so we're going to be covering all those. The 2 Bass Cast tournaments, and then a few of the Carolina Angler Team Tournament events. We're going to sprinkle those in with a couple BFLs on Smith Mount Lake, and we love the James River. We'll be heading up that way as well. And there's the season in a whole. You guys asked, that's it. I mean, it's done for us by then, because it's the rivers during the summer, championships after that, and then the few events leading up to it, and that's the end of the season. So that's where we'll be. And like I said, me and Steve will be hanging out at the Bassmaster Classic, and getting caught up there. And the microphone will be live. I will be recording from the bass. I think it's something different. We record a quick little show, do a couple little interviews with some of the anglers. Danielle gets them, or the boys help me out, and we do some interviews, upload it right to the computer, and you guys go and listen to that. So we'll be promoting that a lot. Like I said, if Bassmaster Classic live interviews, and we'll be doing some video as well. So we content, content, and content. That's. I mean, like I said, this guy from Dual Threat, he definitely did not know what the hell he was doing, or what the heck he had, or any of that crap. Because that'd be like a NASCAR fan who gets to go to the pits, or gets to go to the drivers meeting the day before the race, and gets to be with all these professional drivers that you're in love with and you watch on TV, and you have an hour. You go freaking crazy. It's like a kid in a candy store. And this guy, like, he didn't know what the hell he's doing. On top of,
You want
taking everybody's freaking money.
you want to know what's crazy about the whole dual threat fishing, with all the anglers who streamed and did videos and put on Instagram and stuff. After the first tournament, there was a group that started a couple years ago, several years ago, and their imprint on the internet was probably in that 25,000, which doesn't, in the grand scheme of it, is really nothing. Ethan's footprint after the first tournament was like 1.2, 1.3 million.
Wow.
So he didn't even realize that what he had, and he just screwed it up even worse.
Was
Because
this
I mean,
was this his social media imprint, or what was this?
that was everybody. That was all the anglers putting
Oh,
stuff up
wow.
that got, you get 100,000 from Scott Martin, and you get, Kyle Patrick and Matt
I get what you're
Robertson
saying.
doing those things on the first Okeechobee, and they did 200,000 views. And then they did those short clips, and they did all these other things saying, "Oh, I'm going to Dual Threat," and it was just, when you look at his overall footprint, it was, for a first tournament, it was insane. It was in, and it was all because of anglers doing this stuff. But Ethan,
Free advertisement, free professional anglers. I mean, it's like, what the hell? All right, we could beat this thing like a dead cow here, but hopefully we'll get another update here really, really soon. Hopefully things have moved in the right direction, and we'll be able to keep you guys in the loop of what is happening. Like I said, you guys can keep up with Steve with Get Your Fish On, and watch his YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe, by the way, and help him grow. That's what we're all about. That's what this whole thing, like we were talking about networking earlier, is what this whole thing is about. You guys know we're trying to push Geek to 100K. And me and Geek will be at the
Congrats
Classic.
on that soon.
Thanks, hopefully.
Me and Geek will be hanging out at the Classic as well, because this will be our only time, unless I come down to see him this year, will be our only time to get to see him. So hopefully I can get down there and get on the back of his boat and do a little fishing with him this year. So,
You do a
like I
little
said,
Highlands Reservoir topwater fishing middle of the day at the middle of August when it's 100,000 degrees and you're whacking them over 120 feet on a popper.
That's awesome. So we're 2 weeks away from the Bassmaster Classic, everybody, and next week we'll probably do our little predictions. Trevor's gonna be back on. Uh, hopefully get Baskey back on. Thomas is gonna be back on talking about the river, and we do have a special guest that's gonna be on as well. So stay tuned for that. So we guys really, really appreciate everyone. Steve, as always, man, thank you so much for keeping us in the loop. Do we pray for you because this is really, I know, it has been extremely overwhelming for you and everyone that's been involved. And I mean, like I said, it's not your daggone fault. You just try to do the right thing and try to promote an event, just like me trying to promote an event here in Central Virginia. And next thing you know, the shit goes down.
Unfortunately, but thank you. You always have my support, and if I can ever help you, I'm here for all of y'all anytime.
Appreciate you, Steve. Guys, have a great night, everyone. Like I said, make sure you guys hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. If you're not a Patreon member already, please become a Patreon member. It's $5.95 a month. It helps support the basscast.com and Basscast Radio. You get the podcast on Sundays as well as commercial free. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you all right back here next week on Basscast Radio.